when I started my journey with Hades. You always have to ask why. Why was it Hades? Why was it Hades? Why? But when you look at the whole Greek pantheon or the aspects, I was, at that time, I had a death wish. I mean, I really did. I was driving myself financially into the ground. I found myself making it to work in like 10 minutes to 20 minutes when it usually took me a half hour to 45 minutes. So you start to realize those small things. I didn't eat well. I basically ate myself into pain. I would do anything to damage myself. In the concept of Hades himself, Hades is a god that desires nothing. He doesn't need anything. In the end, all is his. In the realm of the underworld, you have the river Styx and the goddess Styx. I've had a few instances with Styx. Hades, during that shadow work, had spoke unto me and said, you have been here before. The first question you must ask yourself is whether or not you believe in yourself. He required me to speak into myself. I am a God of justice and wrath, immovable by any being, untouchable by any man. Release unto me all your doubts and fears and become eternal. Let the rivers of the dark water of the Styx wash away all your transgressions. Hades is a very docile God, and when I mean that, he's not going to come forth. He's not going to pursue human wishes. He's not going to be a vending machine. He's not someone that guides you. He's not someone that necessarily walks with you. He is where he is what he is, and he does what he does. This is the phrase where God will meet you where you're at. That's where I was at. And unless you're in somebody else's shoes, you don't know what it's like to be in a situation like I am. Hades throughout my whole journey, I pay him reverence. So when I asked Hades for a gift, it was supposed to be a gift of, in my mind, a supernatural ability. I got this cat. If you want a nice warm place to go home, this is your last chance. And she literally got out from under the car and came up to me. She had given me a lifelong worth of work. She was mentioned in that, so there's no way I can get rid of a gift from a god. So all those gods and goddesses that had showed up in the beginning, they have all so far played a part in my upbringing, work that I had initiated into. Once you go through your shadow work and you go through your descent, that you have that willpower. Going into willpower to the point where my fear of loneliness, and I was tormented by Hekate had told me, these three will be your Cerberus. He keeps the living out, keeps the dead in. At that point, I was damaged. Like an animal that's ready to die, I went to go find seclusion. I had reached that point that I knew I was alone. So the pain set in. The pain set in so firmly that it was unbearable. I started to get pulled into the void. I could physically feel it. It's a place of vastness. It's the place where that emotion was created. It's a place that if you were to create that emotion of being alone, you would feel that emotion and all of its impact for as long as the universe would be around. That's how vast and deep and infinite that the void is. When I was in the darkness, no more. It stopped. And I laid there in the pit, free. The black flame ignites, where you have overcome death. You have overcome something that was going to kill you, that did kill you. You have overcome. Now you begin your ascension. And that's what I did. I got up and I was as clean as I've ever felt. Delivered, rose, resurrected, whatever you may call it. I walked downstairs, everything was different. My wife had welcomed me, the animals came towards me, and my wife had said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "The whole house was just filled with sadness." I said, "Yeah, I can't just tell you what happened." The realization of what you've done, the freedom, what you've overcome, you could have saved the planet from a meteorite and it wouldn't have been the same, because you were actually able to save yourself. If you can't save yourself, you can't do anything else. This is the truth. The story of death and resurrection and ascension is the same. You can die in the flesh and still be alive. That's the whole purpose. People talk from the dead. I talk from the dead because I've died. I did it myself. That's the truth. You have to be subjective and willful to do that. I wanted to do this. I wanted to reach out. I wanted to show the world true light. I'm not done yet. I'm not saying I know everything, but as I move forward, I want to share it, and I hope this outlet makes it possible. I did ask Hades, since he showed me the ritual, I said, I'm ready to go to the next level. I wasn't ready. I'm still not ready. but he gave me a very overwhelming experience, an instance, not too long of it, of pure willpower. The scariest experience I've had. It's caution, so much caution. It lasted maybe 30 seconds because I couldn't deal with it. But I sat there and I was froze, and I knew whatever I had said at that moment would have come to fruition. And that's very dangerous, very dangerous. After I realized that, I just stayed silent, and I got up out of ritual room, and I walked downstairs, and I was very cautious of what I touched. My mind was blank because I didn't want to project anything, and I left it at that. I dismissed it because it is very, very powerful. Should I have used it? Sure, but when you come face to face with the power of a deity and a deity itself, you really don't know what to say. The human vessel can't comprehend or function with it. It's just not possible. So that's what we're trying to work on, is being able to manage that ability. So that's where that leapt forward. Hades had given me words during my shadow work to, the first question you must ask yourself is whether or not you believe in yourself. This symbol and this tablet and this form of magic that is not definable requires a will and a belief of self in that will. So when I got the tablet assembled and I went into ritual meditation about it, and I was like, what is this? What am I supposed to do with this? And they literally said, you can create anything you want. Okay. What? It doesn't make any sense. Again, that phrase, it doesn't make any sense, when Hades told me to become a god. It's the same aspect. It doesn't make any sense. How can I just create anything I want? So, and then he said again, the first question you must ask yourself is whether or not you believe in yourself. Are you serious? So that was a pinnacle point that another challenge is ahead. And you sit there and you ask yourself, do I believe in myself? And the answer is no. If I can't sit there, and if I can't listen to a God that says, you can do whatever you want, and you don't do it because you can't do it, because you don't believe in yourself, that's it. That's your thing. So you'd think that would kick you in the teeth, but it doesn't. It's just one of those things that's like, well, here we are, let's do this, but what are we supposed to do? So I did a little experiment with it. My wife sat on the other side. She was in meditation, eyes closed, turned around. I wrote on it simple, we'll say global adjectives or objectives. Basically, I was trying to create a world, trying to create a form and function or modify or something massive, foundationally. So like in a world of a society, what are some basics? You'd have rule, law and order, and then I started doing emotions and nation level, words like unrest, or I would put in money, or I would put in just very, very broad adjectives or functions or anything that would describe a nation, something like that. And so I'd write down three of those functions in the circle, and when I was done, she would automatically say, I see people doing this, or people doing this, or people doing this, and they would correlate into what I had wrote down. So I was like, this is interesting. I wasn't really pumped up about it because I don't know what I was doing, or I don't know what the effect was, or I don't know where I was affecting it. Is it possible I was affecting it on another plane? Was I a god in another dimension? These are just regular thoughts that are imaginative. So I thought, I cleared the board, and I thought of some kind of destruction. Just as an experiment. It's like one of those really bad experiments where people think they're hurting people, but they're not, but they want to see how far they go. I started to almost touch the chalk on the board, and my wife screamed, "Stop." Because whatever you're about to do, whatever you're thinking about, is going to impact a lot of people. And so I didn't. And then she asked me, what were you going to write? And I can't really remember what it was, but it was cataclysmic, catastrophic, just end all be all of whatever I had just built. So she said that felt like it was going to have a profound effect on the world that we lived in. And that's the last time I really did that or attempted that. Where I'm at now, I'm in a very different place. Hekate, all my time throughout here, she had pushed me towards looking at Lucifer. This was completely left field for me. So the next challenge was put forth to me when Hekate had pushed me towards Lucifer. I was very, very cautious. Because it's not in my pantheon. It's not the group that has helped me. It's way out in left field. The other thing is the aspects of Lucifer are in Christian denomination, maybe, but then, I started researching it, and the name comes from, Eosphora. I decided to go into ritual, drew out the sigil of Lucifer, and went to go light my candles, and didn't even get to light the last one. Didn't even get to start doing anything. And the lights flickered. The power did shut down. And my wife was screaming, "What are you doing?" Because it wasn't like a normal thing. So she ran upstairs, the lights came back on, but my candles were lit, and she's like, "Oh, great, summoning the Prince of Darkness. Fantastic." I was like, "Yeah, the presence, very hot, very sweet, undefinable. He stuck around for a little bit. Hades put me on the path of God-man through the Hades Dionysus rituals. It passes the fact that we're gods and that we actually create the archetypes. So in that respect, you destroy everything that has led you. You think that you've done it yourself, but all my experiences, there's no way. So I guess when they say the greatest trick the devil's ever pulled is the fact that he doesn't exist. So even Luciferians and left-hand path followers believe that the Lucifer himself doesn't need to be worshipped and doesn't exist. It's like a concept, and but still, Magick dabbles in pulling energy from what others have created. Still like to use the term that God created man in his own image, therefore we too are gods. So, but your search for awe, your seeking, it can all end. I see a lot of left-hand path people in that way because they are angry, because they are defiant. I don't believe in the defiance part. I believe in the communication and understanding part.